More questions tonight about the man police say murdered a local tech CEO. Law enforcement experts push back on the decision not to make the public aware of the suspect sooner. Maryland's Gun Safety Act is now in effect, but not without some last-minute changes. What the updated Senate Bill 1 means for legal gun owners. And the Orioles wrap up a stellar regular season at Camden Yards with all eyes now on the playoffs. A look at how the O's fared this afternoon and some potential postseason matchups.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
We're following some breaking news out of South Baltimore right now. We're hearing reports of a shooting along 5th Street and East Patapsco Avenue. You can see a police presence there on the scene right now. This is the same intersection where 3 people were shot on September 5th. Fox 45 News is now working to learn more about what happened at this site. We see crime scene tape is up. We will have updates on air and online at foxbaltimore.com. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. On the eve of a full city council vote on acting BPD Commissioner Richard Worley's confirmation, he's still facing questions over how his department has handled several high-profile incidents. Most recently, the manhunt for Jason Billingsley. The public wasn't made aware of a potential threat until after the murder of Pavel Lapierre, despite Billingsley being the suspect of a brutal attack and rape 1 week earlier. Worley stood by his decision not to release information.
The first incident on Edmondson Avenue was not a random act. Had it been a random act, we would have put out a flyer right away.
Well, the suspect may be behind bars right now, but questions remain about why the public didn't know about his whereabouts sooner. Fox 45's Vincent Hill spoke to a law enforcement expert about how notifying the public could have changed the entire investigation. He joins us live with much more now. Vincent?
Yeah, Mary, I want people to take a look. Pavel Lapierre was found on this rooftop, and a former police chief says if Baltimore police would have acted faster, things possibly could have turned out differently.
This individual will kill and he will rape. He will do anything he can to cause harm. So please be aware of your surroundings.
A warning from Acting Commissioner Richard Worley about accused killer Jason Billingsley. But that warning.
Caller says that they can hear people inside the house screaming for help. It's now coming in as a house fire from the fire department.
Days after Billingsley allegedly raped a woman, slit her throat, and set her and her boyfriend on fire. However, no warning to the public that an accused rapist was on the loose days before police say he killed Pavel Lapierre.
From his experience and his background, that's the rape part.
Despite that, Worley standing behind that decision.
Hindsight's always 20/20. I don't think we made a mistake in this case.
Former Assistant Chief of Police Curtis Clemens
to say that there was no mistake made
disagrees.
I think that's a bridge too far. I think, again, we go back to the fact that this person, obviously from his past history, has shown that he can be a threat.
According to charging documents, Billingsley was immediately identified as a suspect in the rape and arson just 3 days before Lapierre's murder.
You have a situation where a person has attempted murder of 2 people in an apartment. He has set the building on fire. That is a clear indication that this person is a threat to the community.
But according to Commissioner Worley, the community was not notified because
there was 2 victims from Edmondson Avenue that were still out. We had to get them protection if we were going to put that information out.
Clemens calling that a contradiction and an excuse.
That is what you're supposed to do, is give the public protection. They could have sent a sheriff's deputy. They could have worked with other local law enforcement, could have offered overtime, could have worked with the marshals.
Stopping short of pointing fingers, Clemens believes things could have ended differently if Baltimore police would have acted differently.
This could have been a much better coordinated effort, I believe. Unfortunately, it played out the way it played out, and Ms. Lapierre lost her life.
Clemens says he also disagrees with the decision not to tell the public about Edmondson because it was referred to as, quote, a targeted act. Now, Clemens says that's all the more reasons that Billingsley's face should have been plastered everywhere. In Baltimore, Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Vincent, thank you. Well, Worley is also facing questions about his department's response to the Brooklyn Day mass shooting. He did receive a unanimous vote of support from a city council committee in September, but some lawmakers and the public are still concerned about the handling of that shooting. Worley has admitted the department dropped the ball on the response that day.
My top priority now, Brooklyn was a huge incident. We have to continue to address the shortcomings there and make sure it doesn't happen again. But my biggest thing is community policing.
Fox 45 News sent several questions to city council members asking if they intend to approve Worley's nomination or if the handling of the mass shooting gave them pause about the decision. We also asked council members if they think Worley is the best person to tackle some of Baltimore's public safety concerns. So far, we have not heard back. The full city council is expected to vote to confirm both Acting Commissioner Worley and Acting Fire Chief James Wallace tomorrow during their 5 p.m. meeting. Fox 45 News will have full coverage of those votes on air and online at foxbaltimore.com. And during the manhunt for Jason Billingsley, Mayor Brandon Scott called out the plea deal given to Billingsley after his 2015 sex offense. We know there have been concerns about plea deals from the state's attorney's office in the past.
Look at who
Contact them about public safety legislation. Their phone numbers and email addresses are on your screen. You can call 410-841-3800 to reach Jones and 410-841-3600 to get in touch with Ferguson. And that brings us to our question of the day. Does Maryland need a special session to address the growing list of public safety issues? So far, 96% of people who voted say yes. To make your voice heard, head to foxbaltimore.com/vote. Well, just before 4 o'clock this afternoon, police say a woman was struck by a car along the 4600 block of North Charles Street in Baltimore. The woman was taken to a local hospital where she later died. Police say the driver stayed on the scene to be interviewed by officers. Anybody with information on this accident is asked to call Metro Crime Stoppers. And we're learning 40-year-old Jewel Crowder was the man arrested for the murder of off-duty Howard County Sheriff's Deputy Ryan Demby. He was shot and killed Thursday night in Federal Hill. Crowder was arrested less than 24 hours after that shooting. Fox 45 cameras were rolling when he was taken into custody. Police say Demby was caught in the crossfire after an argument led to shots being fired. His death leading some residents to question how the city is going to address gun violence.
I said it once, I'll say it again. Brandon Scott, like, what's he going to do about this? Where's he at?
We're also learning more about the life of Ryan Demby. According to the Howard County Sheriff's Office, he had just graduated from the police academy in March. A social media post from the Sheriff's Office shows Denby's father pinning on his son's badge. You may notice the Domino Sugar sign along the harbor looks a little different tonight. Only the letters O and S are illuminated. Yes, a tribute to the O's stellar season as they prepare for the playoffs next weekend. Today was the final day of the regular season at Camden Yards. Rocco DeSangro has highlights and a look ahead to the postseason. He joins us in studio now with the latest. Rocco.
First of all, Mary, that's so cool to see. Game 162 of 162 for the O's. This regular season finale, unlike years past, because there's more baseball to be played going forward. In this group, they're hoping to be playing well into November. While this game was meaningless, O's looking to finish the regular season strong and stay healthy. Red Sox with a 5-0 lead in the 7th. Wilyer Abreu singles and another 6-0 Boston. O's would score their only run in the 8th on an RBI single from Adley Rutschman. No shutout. 6-1 the final. O's salute their fans. Postseason baseball is coming, Baltimore.
Super excited. Don't know really what to expect, but it's exciting to be a part of this whole ride, this whole year. So like I said, we're ready to go.
Yeah, no, that's what we've been looking forward to be able to do this all year. And now that we're at it, it's going to be pretty fun to get out there and just looking forward to experiencing it.
So the postseason is now set. The Orioles waiting through a wild card series to know their opponent. The ALDS gets underway at Camden Yards next weekend. Saturday, Sunday, the Orioles host the winner of the Rays-Rangers wild card. The O's will hit the road for either Texas or Tampa Bay October 10th through 11th, back home for an if necessary game at Game 5, October 13th. That Rays and Rangers series, it gets underway Tuesday, a best-of-3 series. Mary.
Rocco, thank you. And Fox 45 is your home for the 2023 World Series. The action starts Friday, October 27th. You can watch every game right here on Fox 45. And the Orioles will be holding a public memorial for Brooks Robinson tomorrow at Camden Yards. The service will recognize Robinson's iconic 23-year career in Baltimore, as well as his impact on the entire city and state of Maryland. Gates open at 8:30 a.m. We will have complete coverage after the service on Fox 45 Evening News.
On Capitol Hill, one fight ends with many more expected to begin. I'm Christine Frizzell with a look at how the government shutdown was averted and what's next.
And looking good this evening after highs at 83 today. Tomorrow we do it all over again. The bus stop forecast starting off refreshing, but above where we should be for this time of year, right around 60. We're up around 80 tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to let you know how long the summertime holdover lasts. That's in my Weather Authority forecast. All right, here we go. We're back in summertime, right? Although, yes, it is fall, and we know October baseball is coming. Go O's in the background there, wrapping up the official season today, the 160-plus games. And we're going to the postseason, so go O's there. Going to have an orange glow in our forecast coming. Toyota's Shannon Harbor Skychem looking good this Sunday evening. 65 now, clear skies. Winds are to the west at 5, and our humidity 81%. Dew points, they're 59. When you're in the 50s, still feels pretty comfortable, but it's not the crisp feel, and we are going to keep it a little warmer than average, actually a lot warmer than average over the next several days as the HD radar shows not a whole lot of weather makers on the way. There's one way out in the western U.S. with some showers and storms, and that is going to be eventually the end to our warmer weather. But for now, it's fair weather high pressure in full control. This is the payback, right, for what we dealt with Ophelia last week and those cool temperatures. Not going to be the case today. Up into the 90s this afternoon in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We could see temperatures easily into the low and mid 80s, just like today, next several days running. Then the next weather maker with rain and eventually look at the cooler temperatures over the Intermountain West. We got a lot of warmth to get through, though, before we get there. And that's going to be the case again all the way probably through Thursday, Friday before the bottom really falls out this upcoming weekend. So out in the tropics still, yes, it is tropical season. There's Philippe. This has been around for a while. It's a tropical storm, maybe some heavy rains, maybe even some flooding for especially the Windward Islands and the Antilles. And then that makes that turn northbound. Could become a Category 1 hurricane, but that's not going to affect anybody except the fish. And then there's Rena forming over the past several days, but this thing just a tropical depression now, and it's barely hanging on. May just kind of dissipate over the next several hours. So the forecast for tonight around here looks like mainly clear skies, gorgeous weather starting tomorrow morning. Open the windows, upper 50s, low 60s, maybe well north and west. There could be a patch or two of fog in the valleys. And then look at this tomorrow afternoon. Wow. Get outside, enjoy it. 80 to 85 degrees, real stunner here with a lot of sunshine for our first of the new week. And you may be noticing with these constant shifts in temperatures, see a little bit of color in the leaves. We want to thank Explore Fall for this. Got to give them a little credit. But here in Baltimore, not a whole lot of color. But north and west, the low color is just starting. Still got some time, probably till well into October, maybe even near the water, November until we see peak. But over the next few weeks, you're going to really start seeing those colors, especially with the cool overnights and those nice warm days like tonight, 58 degrees, mostly clear skies, winds out of the north near 5. Tomorrow, 83, partly cloudy, a warm one. And you know what? It's going to stay warm. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a little bit of a cool down end of the week, but that's still way above where we should be. Should be at 74. We're up near 80 all the way through Friday. Straight PM shower on Friday, showers Friday night and Saturday morning, and there's a bottom falling out that I was talking about. Mid to upper 60s, good for the apple orchard and pumpkin picking, I said, into this upcoming weekend.
Thank you. A crisis averted for now, despite all signs pointing to a government shutdown. The House and Senate passed a 45-day stopgap bill to keep the government open until mid-November. National correspondent Christine Frizzell has a look at what's next.
We will keep the government open for 45 days with a clean CR at current funding levels.
In the words of Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, it's a temporary solution, not the final destination. A bill which had its controversial provisions removed, including more funding for Ukraine, as well as border security measures and spending cuts sought by conservative Republicans.
No 30% cuts to things like health care, to the Social Security Administration, to the nutrition programs for kids.
After failing to pass more narrowly focused bills demanded by GOP hardliners, Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy passed the legislation with enormous bipartisan support, 335 to 91.
The bill is passed.
It then passed in the Senate 88 to 9 after a delay over opposition to the removal of Ukraine aid.
You know, this is a fight for democracy. This is a fight for the free world.
The fight to bring back that aid in a separate bill is expected to be front and center in the days ahead, along with another fight, the bid by Speaker McCarthy to keep his job.
If somebody wants to remove because I want to be the adult in the room, go ahead and try.
That threat now on the table.
I do intend to file a motion to vacate against Speaker McCarthy this week. I think we need to rip off the Band-Aid.
Congressman Matt Gaetz and some other Republicans furious the package does little to get what they see as excessive government spending under control.
I think what's really stupid is sitting atop a $33 trillion debt, facing $2.2 trillion annual deficits, while the world is de-dollarizing.
Fellow Republicans slamming the idea.
He'd have to get more than 200 plus Democrats to join him to remove Kevin McCarthy, because more than 200 Republicans are 100% behind Speaker McCarthy.
A dramatic week in Washington capped off with a temporary fix and a guarantee of more drama ahead. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Governor Wes Moore responding to the resolution, saying avoiding a shutdown is good news for Marylanders. He says he applauds President Biden and the bipartisan effort to keep the government open, despite calling the resolution an imperfect deal. Well, Congressman Andy Harris, Maryland's only Republican in Washington, says he supported a different plan that would have cut spending and secured the southern border. He says the deficit and border security are his biggest concerns. Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin says the bill helped keep MAGA Republicans from shutting down the government and kept valuable programs like SNAP afloat. Well, still had a massive search effort underway for a missing 9-year-old girl in upstate New York. State leaders' message to the public is more than 100 rescuers are combing the woods. A desperate search underway right now for a missing 9-year-old girl in upstate New York. Police say Charlotte Senna went missing near Saratoga Springs while camping with her family last night. She went for a bike ride with her friends around dinner time, but police say her friends came back while Charlotte never returned. New York Governor Kathy Hochul says more than 100 search and rescue personnel are out looking for her.
We are leaving no stone, no branch, no table, no cabin unturned, untouched, unexamined in our search to find Charlotte.
2 drones and 6 underwater rescue teams are helping in the search. New York State Police also issued an Amber Alert for Charlotte this morning. Through politics and social media, there is a constant battle over who controls our information. Tonight on Full Measure, the court weighs in for the first time. In politics and on social media, people and groups are always fighting over who controls what information we see. And now the courts are weighing in. Full Measure Shah Atkinson has the story.
How important do you see this case in terms of a free speech case?
This is the most important First Amendment case in a generation.
Andrew Bailey is Attorney General for Missouri, which filed the landmark censorship lawsuit against the Biden administration.
We're flagging problematic posts.
Jen Psaki from the White House press secretary's podium established and committed to making sure that big tech social media were clamping down on misinformation, malinformation, information essentially that the White House didn't like. And so that piqued everyone's interest, and we began to realize very quickly that there was a coercive and collusive relationship between the White House across a spectrum of federal bureaucratic agencies with their cronies and woke big tech social media corporations.
Here in Missouri, they've partnered with the state of Louisiana to not only challenge the past actions of the Biden administration, but also to get an order to permanently block the government from similar censorship activities, along with a mechanism to monitor and enforce it.
And we have specific emails where the White House is targeting conservative voices and silencing conservative voices on big tech social media in violation of the First Amendment.
This year, on the 4th of July, the judge in the Missouri lawsuit temporarily banned certain federal officials from colluding with social media while the full case was being decided. Judge Terry Doty wrote, "The evidence produced thus far depicts an almost dystopian scenario. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the United States government seems to have assumed a role similar to an Orwellian Ministry of Truth. And although the censorship alleged in this case almost exclusively targeted conservative speech, the issues raised herein go beyond party lines. The right to free speech is not a member of any political party and does not hold any political ideology." A 3-judge federal appeals court recently agreed the Biden administration ran afoul of the First Amendment and blocked the White House, Surgeon General, CDC, and FBI from violating free speech rights by coercing social media companies to take down posts the government doesn't like.
There is an argument where people say social media, they're private companies, they can do what they like, it doesn't amount to censorship. What's your response to that?
Well, we reject that, and certainly the courts have rejected that as well.
The Missouri versus the Biden administration lawsuit continues, with the state seeking a permanent ban of government collusion with social media to censor. For Full Measure, I'm Cheryl Atkinson.
Well, a career first for Lamar Jackson as the Ravens win big against the Browns. Plus, a look at how the postseason stacks up for the O's coming up next on Sports Unlimited.
But they hung around.
Well, that's all for the news at 10. I'm Mary Bubala. Thanks so much for watching. Morgan Atzett and Rocco DeSango joined us now with Sports Unlimited. Morgan and Rocco.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Coming up tonight on Sports Unlimited, the Orioles regular season, it's done. It's complete. They start the new season on Saturday, the big one.
Yep, the AL East champs get to skip wildcard action, but we'll be watching that with a close eye. The potential contenders the Birds could face in Game 1 of the ALDS at Camden Yards this Saturday.
Can't wait. The O's finish off the regular season with Game 162, and unlike the last 7 years, there's more baseball to be played in Baltimore. How the Birds are approaching postseason play.
Abilities and talents and his hard work and his intelligence and all those things. So, he's going to bring his full skill set to every game. That's what he's going to do. I mean, it's what he does. That's why he is who he is.
That is a wrap on the Orioles' 2023 regular season with 101 wins. The first O's team to 100 since 1980. American League East champions, a first in 9 years, and heading to October baseball for the first time since 2016. Those Birds are not done yet. Game 162, the regular season finale at home against Boston. Kyle Bradish should be postseason starter number 1 Saturday. Bradish, 2 scoreless, 5 strikeouts against the Red Sox, a regular season ERA of 2.83, ranks 3rd in the AL and first O pitcher qualified with a sub-300 earned run average since Mike Mussina in 1992. The O's know the season's done, so some rare defensive errors from Jordan Westburg on the throw from James McCann, and then Gunnar Henderson put Boston on the board in the 3rd, 2-0. Red Sox added 4 more in the 7th to shut out the Birds to win today, 6-1. So the postseason's set. The Orioles still have to wait through a wild card round to know their opponent and travel plans. The ALDS gets underway at Camden Yards this next weekend. Saturday, Sunday, the Orioles will host the winner of the Rays-Rangers wild card. They start